live. Hey folks, welcome back to the Dev Twitch stream. My name is Nick Taylor. I'm a senior software engineer here at Forum. Forum is the software that powers dev. And as always, I'm here with my awesome co-host, Christina Gorton. Christina, you want to just say hey and a few words about yourself before we introduce our guest?
Sure. By the way, I'm like the focal point of this if you want to make it all three of us.
That's because we were sharing before. Always a technical glitch.
I mean, everyone can look at my beautiful face, but I'm Christina Gorton. I am the open source community manager at Forum, and I do lots of stuff like technical writing. I'm an instructor, I've been a developer, and that's me. So let's talk about our guest.
Cool. All right, so today we're going to be talking about NPM 7 and probably all things NPM. We're here with fellow Montrealer and GitHub/NPM team member Ruy Adorno. Ruy, thanks so much for coming on the stream. And if you just wanted to say a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to jump right into it.
Sure. Yeah, thank you for having me. So yeah, my name is Ruy. I'm from Montreal, yeah, and I'm originally from Brazil. So I've been living here for almost 12 years now. Yeah. So I've been part of the NPM team for more than a year now. I think about a
Okay.
year and a couple of months. Yeah. So yeah, we went through the transition. We have been, well, not recently, but the beginning of this year, acquired by GitHub. So yeah,
Okay.
now we're part of GitHub.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So you by I don't know what the proper term is, but you became a Microsoft employee just by working there, so that's pretty cool.
True, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, so like I said, we're gonna be talking about NPM 7 today. There was a release, I think it was about a few weeks ago, not a month ago, it was a few weeks ago, I think. There's there's a link Christina's gonna pop in the chat to the NPM 7 release that Ruy wrote on Dev2. You can check that out. And yeah, so let's get to it. Let's talk all things NPM.
Awesome. Yeah. So maybe just as a little bit of introduction to 7, right? Like we've have been like NPM 7 came out like a month ago, I think, about this time frame. Like it's just a blur now, right? Like we're back into the lockdown here, so time is just a abstract concept. So, anyways, yeah. So we've been through this phase where we're really doing this like step by step. So
Okay.
originally we had like a month period of like a beta version. So like when we first start introducing NPM 7 to really like the folks who are more active, wanting to discover new things, right?
Okay.
So eventually we've graduated to an RC version in which we decide, okay, we're not touching it anymore in terms of we're not adding new features. Like this is the thing that is going out on NPM 7. And then we had a period of RC versions, which basically I think lasts almost a month too, like maybe 3 weeks or
Okay.
something. And then we start cutting majors. The 7.0.0 first major version that went
Okay.
out with Node.js 15. So yeah, and we've been very cautious about it. So we've been doing this all step by step. So we haven't promoted yet NPM 7 into the latest tag.
Okay.
So that's one more thing we're actively doing to just give this sense of progression to the community. So we cut the 7 version. So right now, if you want to get it, what you do is npm install -g npm add 7. Like that's a little bit different from the usual workflow. And just because of that, yeah, we're just trying to do it progressively, right? Like,
Okay.
yeah, and maybe one of the things I with this maybe start introduction. One of the reasons we want to be so cautious about it is because NPM 7 is a complete rewrite. Like Isaac
Okay.
is the architect behind it. Like, and Isaac is
Okay.
the founder, right? Like, he's the person who wrote NPM 7 a long while ago. I think it's about 11 years now. Uh,
Okay.
NPM is 11 years old. So yeah. So that's why we want to be so cautious about it, because it's a complete rewrite. So we want to be careful about it. We're focusing a lot on tests right now. Like that was
Okay.
basically our big bet to make npm an easier code base to work with, a more easy one to manage, right, in the long term, and add new features, right. Like at some point, we were just like hitting the blocks on trying to improve the version 6 that grew organically, right? They have been out there for so long.
Okay.
Uh, so it kind of needed that love, right? That the refactor love. So that's what we did, and that's one of the reasons why we're moving slowly, moving progressively. Like, and since we released npm 7.0, we already cut 12 patch versions. Like we are at 7.0.12 now with
Okay.
the DLI.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I
it
didn't.
kind of like,
Okay. Yeah, no,
sorry, go ahead.
I didn't realize it was a complete rewrite. So
Yeah, me either.
that's pretty big. So for the reasons you mentioned, like maintainability and stuff, and I had a quick question before you go on. I'm assuming it's written in Node, like Node CLIs and stuff. It's like kind of, makes sense. You're
Sure.
in
Yeah.
JavaScript land, so
Yeah. Yeah. Please bring me back every time, because I'm leaving so much into this, right? Like I forgot. I will always forget like the basics, but like, yes, it is written in Node.js. It is actually
okay.
bundled with Node.js. So when you download Node and install it in your machine, you got you get npm with it, right? So it has been the case since very long time ago, like definitely way before I joined the company.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, and yeah, yeah, yeah. So there is this relationship between the Node project, to which a lot of us in the team are also collaborators. We are also contributing to the Node.js project, but there is also the npm project, and Node bundles it with npm in order to make it easy, right, for folks, developers that are consuming the Node.js
yeah.
ecosystem, like to consume package, right, which makes the ecosystem so vibrant, right?
Yeah, no, and it's pretty amazing, the ecosystem. There's like, you know, you can find a package for probably almost anything, like literally almost anything. Um, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so you were mentioning if you want to try out npm 7, it's with Node 15 right now. No, Node 15 isn't an LTS version of Node. LTS is it's what is it again? Long-term support. That's what it stands for.
Yeah,
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 yeah. And
yeah,
it's
yeah. Yeah, so folks who are probably using Node, unless you're experimenting with the non-LTS versions, you'll need to run the npm install -g npm at 7, like Ruy was saying. Otherwise, you'll still be on a 6.0 version, I imagine.
mhm, mhm.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and along with that, like maybe before I know I'm eager to start just sharing some code here. Yeah, I know it's yeah, very informal, but yeah. But before that, maybe we can also chat a little bit more that yeah, on the just the fundamentals of npm 7, like mm,
Yeah, I
with the
think that would be
rewrite,
great.
right? Like yeah, it also enabled us to act on some of the things users have been asking a lot about, like workspaces, right? Like workspaces came out with the V7.0,
Okay.
and yeah, one of the things is that the refactor we did, like it really enabled us to just implement that, right, in a way, and like just get that out into the user hands of the users out there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like already seeing the benefits, but like even before we released it, right? Like, but I think we're really going to see it like in the long term, right? Like being able to ship new features, being able to iterate in in the product, right?
For
So
sure.
yeah, workspaces is kind of one of the just like side effects of that change, right? Like, so I worked on the workspaces implementation, like, and what enabled it was really like the new uh, library that we have to manage all the tree installs. So we
Okay.
we actually did the work of extracting all the logic that goes into fetching package from the registry, putting it in your node modules folder, right? All that is now abstract in its own library, which I
Okay.
also think is exciting because I think it will also enable like the ecosystem of authors, right? Like people are also really into tooling, like in the Node.js world. So I think
Yeah.
that will enable people to get that and reusing like all forms of crazy, all kind of crazy ways to just like remix and like do something new with it, right? Like, so I think it's
Okay.
another very cool thing about V7.
Okay.
And yeah, and I think the other big point, which is worth mentioning right away, is that it's also installing peer dependencies. Now this is
Okay.
very uh, more of a internal knowledge to Node folks, people who have been using the npm ecosystem for a while. But it's
Yeah.
basically just a way to declare your dependencies in such a way that you kind of expect that package to be a singleton, like to have a single instance consumed across all your dependencies, right? Like React, right? Like you
Yeah.
want one instance of React to be running no matter how many plugins you're installing. So the peer dependencies are now like being installed by default. Like when packages are declaring it, like we're making the effort, and it's a big effort. Like in terms of actually algorithm, like it's a super hard problem to solve. And
Yeah.
I haven't actually worked on that one. So that's all. That's been the big hill that Isaac, the architect behind the npm 7, like decide to work for. Like so, it's been it's been definitely one of the most challenges we've been facing. Like there was a lot of patches that correct small tweaking how it works, like making sure it just doesn't break, right? Because it's definitely
Yeah.
super hard to get it right when you have so many package, right? Let's say you're installing dozens of React plugins, right? And all of
Yeah.
them need to interact together in such a way that you end up with a single copy at the top level that satisfies everyone else, right? So it's a
Yeah.
super hard problem to solve, and that we're taking a step now, also thanks to the big refactor, the big
Okay.
cleanup work we did.
Okay. And let's talk about peer dependencies for a second, because I'm not sure if everybody knows exactly what they are. Uh, I'm gonna give you what I think it means, and if you can fill in the holes, because I always like making sure I know what I'm talking about, so it'd be good to get a clarification. But so
Sure.
we have the package.json file, which is kind of like what you include in your project or your package that you're going to deploy.
Mhm.
And you have dependencies, dev dependencies, which are for just local development typically. And then you have peer dependencies, which, so for example, if I was creating a React, I don't know, some React component, and I wanted to say like, well, this needs to work with React 15 and up or 16 and up. There, I don't want to install React in my own package that I'm deploying. So I have this section in the npm, in the package.json that says, this package, when you install it, it needs to run with this version of React. That's kind of how I've understood it. I don't know if there's any holes in that, or if you want to elaborate more on it.
Yeah, it is a fun topic to talk about because I think it has a lot to do with it has a lot to do with also the way community works, right? Like the way human beings are using the technology, not just the technology itself, right? So
Yeah.
the big thing with peer dependencies, right? Like they're trying to communicate this way of having one thing that can be shared across many dependencies, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that by virtue of npm not installing them anymore, and also the other package managers, they kind of jumped into that because okay, this makes everyone's life easier from the
Yeah.
package managers developers point of view, right? But it kind
Yeah.
of shifts it shifts the problem into the hands of the users, right, who are consuming these package managers.
Yeah.
So for a long time, very long time, the community has been used with the package manager will really just ignore these pure dependencies there. Everyone is declaring in my sub dependencies, right?
Yeah.
And I just have to declare one myself, right? And that's been the way like it has been for a long while.
Yeah.
Uh, and so yeah, so basically, and then it became the norm to just okay, you gotta declare what is it that you want to use, right? And during the install process, we can throw warnings. We can let you know that well, some dependency 3 levels deep, your install tree is expecting actually React 17, and guess what? It might not work with your thing that you have in the top level dependency there.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah. So really, what's going on is that Game 7 wants to, okay, now we want to do the full work. We're going to go the extra mile and actually make sure you don't need to declare any more React on your top level dependencies because just from reading the,
Okay.
the package that were installed, we can figure out a version that can satisfy all of them. But then that said, it is a very hard problem with the state of the ecosystem right now because people are just not used to it, right? Like, and it
Yeah.
was not being done in the past. So a lot of package manager of authors, right, maintainers of these plugins, this whole ecosystem, like around React. I know another big one is the ESLint, also depends heavily on peer dependencies. So they are not caring about it because they are used to like, okay, whatever. People would just declare it as a dependency of themselves, right? So I think there's an entire work of education, like re-education to be done to like just get the package behaving right. But that said, the algorithm goes really to great extents to avoid and like play well with the state of the ecosystem right now. So
Okay.
we try really hard to not be breaking in situations where we could just break, right? So what we
Yeah.
did is that the way we want to handle peer dependencies, and the people are more scary about when we talk about installing peer dependencies, we put that behind a flag. It's behind an option. So you'll
Yeah.
have like dash dash strict dash peer dash daps. And that's
Okay.
gonna enable the real strict behavior, which will break as soon as it finds an inconsistency, right? Like some
Okay.
conflict in between the peer dependencies. But the regular way, the actual standard way we're providing it with NPM7 is very loose, is really trying hard to work nicely with the ecosystem we have today. So it's
Yeah.
kind of this in between. So if things work well, we might switch that flag on in npm8 and make that the
Okay.
default, right? Maybe be strict by default. But right now it's very permissive, like it's supposed to not be breaking everyone's work.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I posted a tweet from it's somebody I'm a maintainer with on a React project in Corey House. He's known in the React ecosystem, but yeah, his tweet like the too long don't read is whoa, npm installs pure dependencies, and he was like he wasn't so cool with that, I think. And like but I think it's like you're saying that you know, at some point it's going to be normal to do it the new way. It's just people need to adjust. Even folks who are publishing packages, just everybody to kind of make it the normal kind of. But I had a question about that though. So like say I'm starting a new project and
Mhm,
uh, I'm gonna I'm just using the example of React, but it can be any project. But I go to install,
mhm,
let's say like React Window, which is like a virtual windowing system. I go to install that. It has a pure dependency of React. It's in the mode that you're talking about where it will actually install the pure dependencies. It'll install it for me, but will it update my package.json with the pure dependency version of React that it installed, or does my package.json just show the package I installed and then the pure dependency just stays in like the package lock.json?
Yes, exactly. You basically answered it. Yeah. So it's
Oh,
not
okay.
gonna
Well,
place it in the
I,
package JSON.
I,
Yeah.
I didn't think I had it right.
You have it right. Yeah, because we also have a new package lock format, which is also a big, yeah, one of the new big new things. And the
Yeah,
package lock v2, it's how we call it, the new format will try
yeah,
to be really like a fully replicated, like just cache system for the way things were placed into your file system. So it will save where in the node modules folder
okay,
that dependency was placed. And yes, React is going to end up there because it is part of the install tree, but it's not going to go into your package JSON because it's just a regular dependency of, not a regular, it's a peer dependency, right? But it's just a dependency. It's one type of dependency of
okay,
one of your top level dependencies, but that does not need to go into the package JSON, right?
okay.
But yeah, maybe just because the whole approach we have, we really are not trying to be dogmatic about things and like really listening to the community, and like we're making a lot of effort because we really believe that this is the right way to the ecosystem to be going towards to. But at the same time, like we don't want to break everyone's workflows, right? Like especially when NPM is being bounded with Node.js, like we want to be the at least the more resilient solution out there. So
Yeah,
we're doing this, like listen to the community, like uh, we're trying hard to not break any of existing workflows. So there is a lot of feedback. Like I mentioned, there were a lot of patches already, right? And one of the
yeah,
reasons is because we're finding new situations where just recently React, I think, released 17, uh,
yeah,
or I don't know if it's beta or if it's already out, but that kind of like exposed a lot of new scenarios that we were not taking into account. So the good thing about having the brand new code base, like we can just iterate on it, right? Like we added new test cases, test scenarios, replicating these new forms of usage from the community, right? That we
okay,
were just not documented before. So now we have real life usage. We can just write tests that follow this pattern in
okay.
real life usage, and just make sure we support it, right? Like so at the end of the day, like we try hard for it to also be resilient while
Yeah,
also steering the community into the way we believe like it's going to be better for end users, right?
yeah, for sure. No, it's exciting stuff. There's so a lot, lot going on. Um, I'm pretty excited about the workspaces feature you were talking about. I know in the forum code base we're using Yarn. That was picked a few years ago. I don't know when that got set up, but we don't use workspaces because we're kind of we don't really publish packages. We're just really an application. So maybe that'll change in the future in terms of our design system. That's another topic. But yeah, I love the idea of workspaces being able to maybe elaborate a bit on that because like for folks that aren't familiar with other tools that do this, there's Yarn workspaces, there's Lerna. I think those are the major ones. I don't know of any others, but yeah, maybe kind of dig into what workspaces gives us or will give us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's definitely a very cool subject, and like I was at the very center of it all, so I know of all the things that went into it. Yeah, so I can definitely share a bit more, like about also the development of it, like and how and what it is today. Like
Okay.
so, basically, what we've done is that I had just like well, I have been like maybe 4 or 5 months in the company when I started working on the workspaces,
Okay.
and just to go back to your example of foreign still using Yarn, there's no shame into that. Like I was also using it because most of from the end development world kind of went trended that way, right? Like so
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of the work we're doing to kind of like try to regain some of that market share, right? Like we also want to provide like a good experience, experience to front end developers. And now as a front end developer, right before joining the NPM team, I was still working as a front end developer. So I
Yeah.
definitely know all about that side of the coin too. Yeah. So when I first joined and I started working into the workspaces, I had no experience because we were not using workspaces, even though we were using Yarn before. Like I was not using with my
Yeah.
previous team, so I had to learn it from from scratch, right? So one cool thing we did a big research phase uh, in which I talked with a lot of folks from the community that had work, been working in workspace support, right? So I
Yeah.
talked with Mael from Yarn. It was very nice of him. He took an hour of his day to chat with me and like kind of share a little bit of the wisdom on workspace, give some tips, like share some of the knowledge there, right? I also spoke with Daniel, the maintainer of Learn. So a lot of the folks, some of the folks from the working groups from the Node.js foundation.
Okay.
So we went out to gather a lot of feedback from the folks that were really like involved deeply into the workspaces feature and the entire
Yeah.
ecosystem around it. So we did that work, and then we wrote an RFC. So when we're developing new features in the npm client, we have this RFC process, which is basically like you write a document and you request for comments. So basically, it's an open document. Yeah, you can probably share the link there. Like it's just npm slash RFCs.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, so basically anyone can jump in. Like was something that came from the team because we knew we wanted, like, this is like has been the top user request from ever since I joined the team. So basically, like, it was our top of mind. So we
Yeah.
ourselves wrote one of the RFC, but anyone can write a RFC from the community. So it's one of the super cool ways
Yeah.
to interact, like, with the project. If for folks
Okay. Cool.
listening that might be interested in contributing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went on. We wrote this document describing how it should work, right? And we collect a lot of input, right? Like, so a lot of, especially folks from Learn went back and gave a lot of feedback too on how it should work. So we collect all this feedback and then we start working on the implementation.
Okay.
So what happened during the first phase of implementation for workspaces is that we really narrow it down. So what we ship with this version 7.0 is really just the foundation work to support the workspace. So it's really at a foundation level. Like
Okay.
the installer is now capable of understanding that you set up some workspaces and make and create theme links. So at the end of the day, workspaces are just going to be theme links between what stuff that you have in your node modules folder and the folders you have in your repo, right, in your local file system. So the workspace is a neat way to arrange all that together, right? So the first this first phase we went through, we just shipped that capability, like that
Okay.
the installer being able to understand there are workspaces in this project. I'm going to use them instead of trying to look up the registry, right?
Cool.
So
Cool.
it's very integrated. Like if you get rid of the workspace and you have that same package published to the registry, it's going to get it from the registry. So
Okay.
when you declare it as a dependency, like you just use name and December version as you regular use for other dependencies. But as long as it is a workspace, it's going to prioritize a workspace over something downloaded from your registry. But if you get rid of it, it's just going to download it from the registry. So that's the very nice thing, like that enables like teams to publish more packages and share them, reuse them in
Yeah.
other contexts, right? So so that's the work that is out there today. So when we
Okay.
are working, we have currently another RFC. We
Mm-hmm.
are defining more commands, more workflows to support working with the workspaces, right? Like,
Okay.
uh, so like create a more like just a more automated way to npm install a dependency within a workspace. Like
Okay.
the support we have today is really manual. We have to go in, tweak the package JSON for that workspace, go back to the top level and npm install. So
Okay.
the second phase of the work, which is probably coming out in either 7.1 or 7.2, like it's the top priority once we're done stabilizing 7.0.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's yeah, so it's gonna come in phases, right? Like, so there is that, and then I already wrote a third one to support maybe a top level command to help you configure your your package JSON, right? We have without having to manually tweak the package JSON and adding the
Okay.
workspace. Just provide a command to do that, like in a more handy way, right?
That's cool. And I'm just gonna stop you there from it. I think it's really well. There's a lot of good things coming out of this in terms of just. I know you're big into open source. We're big into open source too, and I think it's great that the RFCs are out there, like in the wide open, so anybody can read them. And like you said, anybody can actually propose one or provide feedback. And the other thing that I think is really amazing is Lerna and Yarn are both open source as well, and the fact that you were collaborating with them to get feedback. It's not like somebody over there saying like, "No way, I'm not helping you." It's like, everybody just wants to make the packaging systems in the front end ecosystem, well, npm sorry, node and front end, just a lot better. So I think that's pretty cool that like they gave like some constructive feedback. So just wanted to say that before you go on. So
Yeah, no, definitely. And I really think like it's definitely beneficial for the ecosystem, right? Like for the node ecosystem to have this vibrant community of package managers, right? And each one
yeah,
exploring different directions, right? Like PNPM, those are like a great job, like innovating with this entire same linked structure which saves disk space. So like,
yeah,
I think it's great work and super good at the end of the day for the ecosystem to have all these different explorations going on, right? So yeah, there's
that's cool.
one more thing I wanted to add. Yeah, about the RFCs. Yeah. So we actually have this weekly call. Like everything is on Zoom now, right? Like, but it has always been on Zoom anyways. Which we talk about all the open RFCs ongoing. So when people propose a change, an RFC, like they can come up to the call and like, and they can speak up to it if they want, if they feel comfortable with it. So it's actually right after this live chat.
Okay.
So just shameless plug. If anyone wants to check it out, like follow the
Yeah, yeah,
links.
yeah. No, that's awesome. Cool, cool.
And
All
you're
right,
also
so
invited if you want to come and hang out.
yeah, yeah. No, that sounds cool. All right, so that's kind of like we dug into workspaces a bit. So you were talking about the yeah, so and we talked about peer dependencies. Uh, what other in your mind, what other notable stuff is in the npm 7 release, or is there some minor things that just help things out in general, or
Yeah, I think notable, like there was also a complete rewrite of basically almost all the commands were complete rewrote. Like, and so audit is one of them that got really, really, really better. Like, especially the output. Like, I
yeah,
know a lot of people didn't like the table output it used before, and the
okay,
way it was yeah, and the way it was incrementing the size is like based on like multiplying the number of occurrences within the install tree. So the numbers
okay,
got really huge. So like that's being reworked. So when you run npm audit, like the output should be way more neat, just readable, just
okay.
tries to be less verbose, I guess. It's what I'm going
Yeah,
for here.
yeah,
So it's
it's pretty big right now, at least in the
yeah,
version
yeah,
6. Yeah.
yeah. If you didn't like it in version 6, you should definitely give it a try in v7. It
Okay.
has definitely been improved. Yeah, and I know, yeah, all the other notable commands. I think LS is one of the ones I personally rewrote. Like, it was a very good experience of trying to like have 100% test coverage of something that was there, right? Then I
Okay.
throw away the implementation, the legacy implementation, and I wrote a new one because, anyways, we needed to consume this new install library that we put together, right? Like, which I think I should also share the link. Is
Okay.
npm. Oh, if you go to on GitHub, is github.com/npm/arborist. So Arborist is really this new library, which is just the core of npm. Like, is the thing that will install all the things. It will install things from the registry. It takes care of the workspaces. It is the thing that takes care of npm install or
Okay.
npm CI or anything related to install, right? So the other commands, such as ls, now they just consume the result from that library, and
Okay.
they transform it into the output that we expect, right? So I did that work of like, okay, then I had 100% test coverage, then I got the new library plugged in, wrote the new implementation to get the same output as we had before, right? And
Yeah.
have the test passing, right? Like, it was kind of like good example of like test driven development going on,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And
No, it's for sure
yeah,
a. No, I
yeah,
was
yeah.
gonna say what
There,
you were saying.
go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry, what you were saying about the TDDing. I think that's great because you had the tests in place already with the old code base, and you weren't changing the tests because you don't need to, because like they have to pass the way they are currently written. So I think that's pretty cool that you did the rewrite. You probably had failures as you went along, and then eventually you got stuff going.
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
No, it's cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
and there
okay,
are a couple of minor ones. I think we also add some new commands like explain, which will it's pretty neat. Like it will explain you why you have some package in your install tree, right? Like let's say you install this plugin, whatever, and you like, and then it brings on hundreds of packets, right? Like,
yeah,
so now you're dealing with hundreds of packets. So one day you look up, oh, this package has a vulnerability. Like, why do I have it here, right? Like, so now there's this need npm explain, and then you can put the name of the dependency, and it's going to trace like the way, the basically how that dependency ends up in your installed
okay.
tree, right? Like because of this dependency that was installed because of this dependency that is here
Yeah.
because you installed X.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've seen that happen with like that typically happens with build tools like Webpack or Babel, because these tools are so huge and they have potentially, like you're saying, hundreds of packages, and then it's like, okay, it's using this teeny package with a vulnerability, and oh, it's in Webpack. So but I'm curious, like what do you, in that case, what do you do? Like I think I know what you're supposed to do, because like you get the audit like you're saying, and or like a Dependabot or some kind of bot that runs on your repository can detect security vulnerabilities like Sneak as well. Um, w- does it work though? Like say I have Webpack installed and it says package X version 2 has a vulnerability. You need to upgrade to 2.1. Is the onus on Webpack to fix that? Well, I mean, they will fix it eventually, I'm sure, but like, and I'm not knocking Webpack, it's just an example. But like, if I install the version 2.1, so it goes into my package lock.json, will that end up overriding to fix the security vulnerability? Because like if it's a minor version, I can see it not affecting Webpack. But if it's like, you need to upgrade to version 3 because of a security fix, like you can't upgrade it because Webpack depends on this older version. So I'm curious, like, what's the security practice there in that case? Like you just wait for Webpack, or
Yeah, that's a good point. And I can also highlight a new feature of npm audit, because with npm audit, we already had. You can npm audit fix, which will try to fix
yeah,
these problems, right? Like, so in the case you're describing, it's probably gonna work just fine because it's gonna see there's a new minor that fixed the problems, like, and it
okay,
is compatible with Webpack because the way it was declared, right? Like, that's probably gonna work. But what we
yeah,
introduced is a new dash dash, well, just the support to dash dash force flag,
okay,
which will try to update the sub dependency, even though it has a major release, right, which might not necessarily be compatible.
okay,
But like this was one of the things we're giving it a try, like see if it's actually useful, because we've seen this trend of like the package maintainers, they want to keep on top of just the latest and greatest Node.js, and they don't want to be supporting back to like Node 4, right? Like
yeah,
that's old. Like so what we're so we're giving it a try to see how useful it is. So you can npm audit fix dash dash force,
Okay.
and that will try to bump things to unsupported versions in order to get a fixed version for a package, right? Because we've seen this
Okay.
trend where a lot of the package authors, they will declare a new major, but it's just because just they just want to make it explicit there. They're dropping support of a
Okay.
node version, right? So maybe
Yeah.
that there is not really no code change at all. Like it is the same code, but they want to make it explicit that the very old version of node is not supported anymore. And maybe
Okay.
if you're also just dealing with the latest one, you also don't care about it. So it's just try to see how useful that can be to folks. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess like on the other side, like anybody that maintains a package or a huge project like Webpack, they're typically on top of these things, but it's obviously like it doesn't happen like in within hours necessarily. You know, everybody's
Yeah.
humans behind these projects, and these things take time sometimes. Even with automated tools like Dependabot or Sneak, you know, we get them on forum and you know we'll
Mhm.
approve them eventually, but it's not necessarily in the app like instantly. You know, it might be the next morning or because so it's yeah, okay, cool. No, that's yeah,
Yeah.
I've always been curious about that because like I know, yeah, you can install that package to update it, but I was just curious, yeah, how it would work with existing packages. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
cool,
And
cool.
one other thing you can do, which is similar to npm audit fix, but let's say it doesn't have any audit associated to it. You can also npm update and the name of a package down the subtree of a install, right? And
Oh,
it will
okay,
also try to update that package to valid versions of.
cool, nice. Um, did you want to switch gears a bit? I know you wanted to show some code before, or what did you want to get up to now?
Yeah, let's maybe just go some live coding, right? Like, so I had this idea of maybe just cloning the npm CLI repo, like maybe just show
Okay.
people like how maybe it is not that scary to try and hack on it, right? Like, but maybe it will be. I don't know. You can just give it a try, right?
Yeah. I'll just give the disclaimer to folks. We're going deep into the matrix now. All right. Okay, here we go.
Cool. Yeah. So maybe let's just try and like let me start by maybe just cloning the npm repo and
Okay.
like so giving it a try to the G8 as a GitHub CLI. I haven't been using that much, so I probably will need to like figure out things on the fly here.
Okay.
So G8, I probably want repo clone npm CLI. Yeah, cool.
Um,
All right, so
d-
it's just a
okay,
shortcut
just clone.
to clone from GitHub. Yeah.
Okay. While that's pulling that down, I don't know if you can zoom in your terminal a little bit if possible. Like make the font a bit bigger. Uh,
Yeah.
I know I do it in VS
Oh,
Code when I do it. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah,
it's good.
that's
Okay.
perfect. Does that look
No,
okay
yeah,
to
I've
you,
tried to.
Christina?
Say that again?
Does it look okay on the stream for you, Christina, the size of the font now?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool,
All right.
cool. Yeah, I yeah, just I try to keep it small so that I know that it's probably gonna be expanded to full screen on the video, and
Oh yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
it's
no worries.
readable now. Yeah, cool. So
Yeah.
yeah, so what I have here the clone repo. So here basically have the CLI, and one cool thing about the npm CLI, it's just like we checking our all dependencies, right? So
Okay.
everything should run right away, like, and I can invoke itself, like the repo I just checked in, I just cd into, right? Like I can
Yeah.
run node dot and basically run any of the npm subcommands on it, like, so here
It's
I
like
can like list all of the dependencies, right? I
yeah. Okay,
think
yeah, and
I'm
that's given a true view.
Yeah, and I get
Okay.
some errors here because I'm missing some of my dev dependencies. You see?
Yeah. Okay.
You your video is kind of choppy right now. Let me know if I'm also breaking.
No, our video is pretty stable. I think it might be on your end, but I can see
Okay.
your screen
But
perfectly.
your voice and your screen is fine. Just occasionally your video goes out a little bit. Otherwise everything else is fine. So I'd say keep
Yeah.
going. You're good.
Cool. So, all right, I can even run an npm install right from within the npm repo. Like it's super like Inception, right?
Yeah.
So
But
yeah, here I'm basically running the npm install to get the dependencies I'm missing there.
yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah. But
It is super Inception, right?
yeah, that's like I think they do that with like the TypeScript code base too. It's at a state now that they use TypeScript to build TypeScript. Uh,
Yeah, pretty neat. Yeah. So you can see here, now I don't have the problems I had before, and I
yeah.
see all my dependencies. So I can also highlight one of the changes in npm ls, which now we only show the top level dependencies. As you
Okay.
can see here, this is a flat like representation of the tree. So to get the same output as npm 6, you can add dash dash all, and it will like print that full tree, like
Okay.
showing all the dependencies.
Yeah.
I got an error here. I don't know why. The joy of
It's because we're
live
doing a
coding.
live coding session. That's why.
Yeah. But anyways,
Totally.
now I have the npm code base, so I can even run the test, right? I can run npm test within npm, I can run the entire npm test suite on it, so you can see like it has tests for all the subcommands and like all the utils. So we're actually still missing a couple of subcommands, but we're working on that. It's one of the things we're
Okay.
working right now this week. Yeah. So yeah, and basically you can see everything is passing, right? So I can go ahead and maybe like just give some quick example. What was the thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd
I
be
was
great.
just hacking. I was hacking on this one of these little known subcommands, npm
Okay.
star, which allows you to star a package in the registry. So you can
Oh,
like
I didn't
wipe
know that,
it,
but I know IPT. That's your package, right?
right? Yeah. So like I can star my own
Nice.
package here, and I can also try an unstar, but like
It's like when
just
I heart my
broken.
own code pins and stuff when I'm creating them. I'm like, oh, those are good. I'm gonna heart them.
Yeah, you're like, I'm awesome.
Yeah.
Well, somebody got to shield it, right? Like nobody otherwise.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I wasn't even
Anyway,
aware that you could do that from the CLI. I think we lost Roy's audio for a sec.
no,
Just for a
yeah, I
Ah,
second.
think I
you're
lost
back.
you.
There you
Yeah,
are. You're back.
yeah. I might just kill the video for like of the screen sharing for a little while, and then we can go back on.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Sounds good.
Sound good. Yeah. So no, yeah. My example here is because I'm just in the process of fixing this bug, like yesterday.
Ah, okay.
I was just fixing this, but like right now, because I just checked in the repo, right? Like it is broken. Like what I should be seeing here is that on star, like I should see a blank star in my IPT, like that package name there, right?
Okay.
So we can so like you can maybe just go jump real quick into that subcommand just to maybe show around how it is. Oh, it's probably not the greatest example because, oh, or you know what? Maybe I can just bring in my new code if I want to make it work magically.
It's
So
kind of
they,
nice that you're going in the code here because for folks that do JavaScript like Node, this seems approach. I mean, obviously you need to get familiar with the code base, but it
yeah,
just you opening it shows it's not as intimidating necessarily as folks might think it is.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's hopefully one of the things I can showcase. Like it's really just Node, right? Like it's Node.js. Like one of the things, like one of the very opinionated things that I found, it's here like ever since before I joined, but like they don't use semicolons, right? Like I know a lot of people have strong feelings about it, right? Like I honestly, like my personal choice is to not have strong feelings about with this kind of thing. Like, and and care more about the important things in software development. But I do
Yeah,
know
for sure.
people that love semicolons or hate it, and like it's fine, it's fine.
I
So
spent
just a
forever
little
one
bit.
time getting rid of semicolons because of a linter in a company I was working with that didn't like them.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh, it's fine, it's fine. So, anyways, just to maybe showcase how you can quickly jump in, like, and start tweaking the code base, right? Like, we have this output function here, which used to print stuff. So maybe I can just like throw an output here and say like, oh, hello, you're about to start, and then we can say, well, our really like hacking, like
yeah,
really
we're
quick.
deep in the matrix here. Ah, there we go.
Yeah, yeah, and you can see the change right away, right? So yeah, one of the things I ended up fixing the problem of it not unstarring my thing here. So it basically comes down to this. So here, like really 101 bug fixing on NPL CLI. But basically, this task was checking for the command starting with a on, because it would
Okay.
be on star, right? So, but the thing is, if you come here and like you try to trace what npm command is, so I'm gonna go and like node on star again,
Okay.
and you can see it's star, and like, but wait, like so when I star is star, but when I unstar is also star. But that's
Okay.
because of some of the refactors we did, like we just normalized it to a single command, right? Like, so now we need a different
Ah, okay.
way to tell if you're on star or star, right?
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
So yeah, so
Cool.
the way I fix that, I might try to replicate it here real quick. But like, you have to jump into this other file that defines the commands. So I gotta remove the place where it lists on star as just an alias to star. Get rid of that, and then I
Okay.
can declare like onstar as a command, and then I can go ahead and create this onstar command basically for it.
Okay.
So, and my unstar, like what I would usually do, like what I actually did in real life, I'll really try to get like the example of something close to that works today, right? And I knew, because I've been working with it for a while, but like someone new to the team would have to dig a little bit more maybe. But I knew there
Yeah.
was this LL example, which is close because it's npm-ls, but adding this long option here. So you see, like it's really close to what I want. So what I end up doing to fix, well, and I don't even know, I might receive feedback that maybe I should resolve it in a different way. But what I did is like, okay, like, because I'm copying the example, it should be star instead of unstar. So
Okay.
my unstar command basically becomes this new command that it just like extending the star command, like, but just making sure it sets the config telling that star unstar is true or something like that, right? I don't know if I'm gonna land for that for the
Okay.
final syntax. So here, instead of checking for this, I can like check star and use that instead, right? So like I
Okay.
can get rid of this line of code, and then I can come over here and be like, okay, so instead of set, well, of course I'm gonna get that value, and yeah, and let's use that instead.
Okay.
So I think that should work. Let's see. It's live coding, you can always fail. So now I can, let's say, star, IPT. It doesn't even work anymore. Oh no, it works.
Okay.
Just a connection hanging. And now I can try to unstar. And let's see, drum.
Uh. Uh. Uh.
Oh my God, what happened?
Uh. Uh.
Is
Are
it the
you in infinite
connection?
loop? Ah, there we
Nah,
go.
it
There it is.
worked.
Suspense. That was suspenseful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big
You did
moment
that
of
on purpose.
suspense.
You put a timeout in there somewhere, didn't you?
Messing with the network, yeah, just to create more suspense. But yeah, see like how typical day of NPM CLI developer go by. I didn't fix the bug. So in this case, yeah, I started writing the test suite. Like, so this is one of the few commands that are not tested yet. So
Okay.
what I usually do, like, oh, this is getting like pretty small here, but like I would go ahead, create like task lib slash star, and then I just like write a test, right? So, but I won't probably won't start writing the test from scratch. But I probably will do like I'll go to a sibling, like there's something really close, like let's say a task lib owner, like is one of the other subcommands that just talks to the registry. I would probably
Okay.
copy and paste a lot of these as a boilerplate to start that new task, right? Like so I can
Yeah.
start it from a place where I know like I know most of these things work. I know okay, I probably be getting rid of this and this. Maybe I don't need Pacochi because I'm not going to be fetching any of the packages here. But then I can start like actually writing the test, right?
Yeah. I think a lot
But
of
yeah,
people copy existing tests to start a new test.
yeah,
And there's snippets too, I know, and I have some snippets for something, and I should probably, I think I actually I think I created a snippet for test, but it's like I always forget to use the snippets. I don't know if I'm that person that's like, hey, snippets are cool, but I never use them. But
yeah. So yeah, I think that's short, but uh, I don't know if I have too much more time left. And I think it's way more fun now. You tell me, like, to
yeah,
showcase, like, how to really jump into the project and contribute. Like, we talk about engaging in RFCs, and we also have
yeah,
this feedback repo that I also maybe let me drop the link, or you can find. It's not hard to find. It's going to be github.com/npm/feedback.
okay,
So that one is coming from more of the product folks. So they put together. This is a little bit less of developer centric, right? Like less technical
okay,
uh, place to just give feedback, like have conversations about the npm CLI. So it's also an awesome way to engage. So for us, like really getting contributions from the community, right? Like it is the best thing, right? Like so, be it like feedback in either of these avenues, like RFCs or maybe just a bug report on our repo, right? Or if you're a developer and you're excited about the project, like I was before, I was in
yeah,
that place before, right? I will jump into open source projects and hack something and contribute, right? So I just wanted to showcase like it
oh
is
yeah, for
actually
sure.
approachable. Like there's a lot of knowledge, but I think with the refactor, we made it so that it's a little bit more approachable, like because the CLI mostly contained the code for like all the subcommands and
Okay.
all the really gnarly stuff about installing package that all lives in its own package now.
No, it's cool. It's yeah, no, I think you have like a meeting, like you said, to talk about the RFCs. Is that what you said that's coming up next? So
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We have the
yeah,
weekly.
yeah. So I know you're gonna have to jump off for that, but before we go, I just want to say thanks so much, Ruy, for coming on to the stream. Had a lot of fun. There was a bunch of stuff I wasn't aware of in NPM, and
Yeah.
I think it's great that you showed us the code base because like I'm kind of inclined to I want to go contribute to the NPM CLI now. Uh, yeah, Christina is gonna drop some links for folks if they want to get in touch with you. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we head off?
Awesome. Yeah, no. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to come here and talk a little bit more. Yeah, we've been very focused like on the work on the V7 like since a long time ago. Right, we've been heads
Yeah,
down. So now we're finally
Yeah.
kind of coming out and reaching to the community again because we also need to be out there, right, and like
Yeah.
kind of explain to people what's going on.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity and like to everyone like if you haven't give it a try yet, maybe give it a try to npm7. Like, let us know if you find any problems. Like now it's a great time to contribute. Like we're soon going to be promoting it to the latest tag, so it's going to be like even more official. Like if it's not enough right now, right? But yeah, it's not that hard to contribute, right? Like we have many avenues to just reach out to the project, like leave feedback or propose a new feature, or maybe get your hands into the code if you like it.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, thanks again, Ruy. And that's it for us today. I think I'm gonna have to go get a haircut because I'm getting some major pandemic hair. So I may or may not
Oh
have
yeah,
hair
I do
next
have it.
week. Yeah, it's glorious. My hair looks like a Q-tip when it starts getting too long. So
I hit the point
uh,
where I watched a YouTube video and I cut my own hair, so that's where we're at.
yeah, I let my kids cut my hair a couple months ago. So it's YOLO.
Yep.
Cool, cool. All right, thanks again, Roy. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. I should stop the stream.